Long before barcodes, before finish tokens, and before thousands of people gathered here every Saturday morning, this track belonged to a legend. In the depths of the Great Depression, one horse gave an entire nation something to believe in. His name was Phar Lap. Written off after his very first race, he would rise to become Australia's greatest racehorse, inspiring hope when hope was hard to find. Today, we follow in those same footsteps on a journey where every barcode has a story.
It's still Archer holding command. He leads by 2.5 lengths from Antonelli. In third place is Prince. Then Mormon gaining ground from Flatcatcher and Tory Boy on his outside.
Hi everybody, Billo here. It is Sunday the 19th of July 2026 and this is 5k yards on the road to Parkrunday with Billo. This week's adventure was a solo mission with a 4 a.m. start, marking another journey in search of a new parkrun story. Ahead lay 355 kilometres of open road and a drive of 3 hours and 50 minutes from my home base in Wodonga, travelling south along the Hume Freeway. My journey would take me to the suburb of Braeside, just 29 kilometres or 42 minutes southeast of Melbourne CBD. My destination, the Phar Lap Track. But it wasn't just for another parkrun venue. Long before runners, walkers and volunteers gathered here, but this isn't just another parkrun venue. Long before runners, walkers and volunteers gathered here every Saturday morning, these grounds helped shape one of Australia's greatest sporting legends. It was here that trainer Harry Telford prepared Phar Lap for many of the victories that would capture the imagination of the nation. During the darkest years of the Great Depression, Phar Lap became far more than a racehorse. It became a symbol of hope, resilience and belief. Today, that same spirit lives on in a different way as people from all walks of life come together for 5 kilometres of community, friendship and their own personal journey. Welcome to the Phar Lap Track Parkrun. Sometimes a place is just a place, but sometimes a place tells a story. This quiet trail through Braeside Park might look like any other walking track in suburban Melbourne. Yet almost a century ago, these very paths echoed with the pounding hooves of a horse who would capture the heart of a nation. His name was Phar Lap. Born in New Zealand in 1926, Phar Lap wasn't expected to become anything special. He wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the prettiest, and after his very first race, he finished dead last. Most people wrote him off before he even got started and claiming he was just another racehorse. But one man didn't. Trainer Harry Telford believed there was something hidden beneath that awkward young horse. Alongside his devoted strapper, Tommy Woodcock, they nurtured, trained and believed in Phar Lap when few others did. What followed became one of the greatest sporting stories Australia has ever known. Between 1929 and 1931, Phar Lap dominated Australian racing, winning race after race, culminating in his unforgettable Melbourne Cup victory in 1930. Between 1929 and 1931, Phar Lap dominated Australian racing, winning race after race, culminating in his unforgettable Melbourne Cup victory in 1930. But his success meant far more than silverware. Australia was in the grip of a Great Depression. Families were struggling, jobs were scarce, money was tight. Yet every time Phar Lap raced, the nation stopped. For a few precious minutes, Australians forgot about their hardship and dared to believe that anything was possible. Phar Lap became more than a champion racehorse. He became hope. And here's the remarkable part. You're looking at the very place where much of that history was written. The very training grounds where Harry Telford prepared Australia's greatest racehorse for some of his most famous victories. The same earth, the same landscape, the same winding trails. Only today, instead of one legendary horse chasing greatness, hundreds of ordinary people come together every Saturday morning to create stories of their own. Because that's what Parkrun has always been about. Not being the fastest, not winning races, not standing on podiums. It's about showing up, it's about believing in yourself, it's about taking that first step, even if everyone else thinks you can't. Maybe that's why this place feels so special. Because in many ways, every single person who arrives at Parkrun has a little bit of Phar Lap in them. Some are chasing a personal best, some are returning from injury, some are walking their very first 5 kilometres. Some are simply trying to find their place, whatever brings us here. We're all writing our own stories, and today our story begins at the Phar Lap Track Parkrun. So lace up your shoes, let's hit the trail, and let's discover what every barcode has a story. Now, before exploring my parkrun day at the Phar Lap Track Parkrun, I thought I would share some more stats on this remarkable racehorse. As we're running around Phar Lap Track today, it's worth remembering just how incredible the horse this course is named after really was. Phar Lap raced 51 times for an astonishing 37 wins, 3 second place finishes and 2 thirds. That means he finished in the top 3 42 times from his 51 starts. His 72.5% win ratio is extraordinary. Now, to put that into perspective, most champion racehorses are considered exceptional if they win around 20 to 30% of their races. What's even more remarkable is that Phar Lap didn't look like a future superstar early on. He was unplaced in 8 of his first 9 races. But once he found his stride, he'd become virtually unstoppable, winning 36 of his final 42 starts. During 1930, the year he claimed the Melbourne Cup, he won 19 of his 21 races, capturing the hearts of Australians during the Great Depression and becoming far more than just a racehorse. He became a symbol of hope. So as we head around the course today, remember we're following in the footsteps, or perhaps the hoof prints, of one of Australia's greatest sporting legends. While none of us will match Phar Lap's win rate, just turning up for Parkrun means we've already part of our own success story. Before making the trip to Braeside, I always like to see what previous visitors have to say, and the reviews for the Phar Lap Track Parkrun tells us a pretty consistent story. Time and time again, people describe this as a beautiful course, set amongst towering eucalypts, what many Australians affectionately call ghost gums, with abundant bird life and native wildlife. It's a course that feels surprisingly remote, despite being only around 40 minutes from Melbourne CBD. The setting is clearly one of its biggest draw cards. The volunteers also receive plenty of praise. Reviewers consistently talk about the warm welcome, friendly marshals, a well-organised event, and a fun pre-event briefing. As we know, it's the volunteers who make Parkrun what it is. And by all accounts, the Phar Lap Track has built a fantastic volunteer culture. Facilities also rate well. Visitors mention clean toilets close to the start, plenty of parking, although it's spread across several parking areas, and helpful car park marshals to guide people on arrival. Now, not every review is glowing though, and that's worth mentioning. One visitor raised concerns about being directed away from the closest car park, particularly for people with limited mobility who may need easy access to the toilets. While that's just one perspective, it's a useful reminder to check the event's parking advice before you arrive and allow yourself a few extra minutes on your first visit. Overall, the overwhelming impression is that this is a peaceful bushland parkrun with a genuine Australian feel. Between the history of Phar Lap, the natural beauty of Braeside Park, and the welcoming community, it's easy to see why so many parkrun tourists recommend making the trip. So with all that in mind, it was finally time to experience the Phar Lap Track for myself and find out whether it really does live up to the reputation. One thing worth knowing before you arrive at the Phar Lap Track Parkrun is that Braeside Park is a large Parks Victoria reserve with a number of different car parks spread throughout the park. In total, there are 10 designated car parks, and as part of Parkrun's agreement with Parks Victoria, participants are asked not to park in Swallow 1 or Ibis 5. These car parks are reserved for other visitors to enjoy the park. To help things run smoothly, you'll find friendly car park marshals stationed at these locations. Please follow their directions and help respect the agreement that allows Parkrun to call this beautiful park home. And one more important reminder, the road through Braeside Park operates as a one-way anti-clockwise system. Please don't be tempted to enter through an exit, as I've heard this has happened before, and it can create unnecessary risks and makes life much harder for the volunteers managing traffic. For me, I parked in Magpie 7, which is the closest car park to the Parkrun start and finish area. From there, it's just a short walk along the red rail pictured on the map to the event hub, while the public toilets are conveniently located here in the centre of the park, marked in the blue section. Now let's take a closer look at the course itself. The Phar Lap Track is a relatively flat course with only around 15 metres of elevation gain across the 5 kilometres. There are no steep climbs to worry about, making it an enjoyable course for runners and walkers alike. Underfoot, the entire course is made up of compacted granitic sand. Its surface would generally drain very well and provide comfortable footing. That said, after periods of heavy rain, I'd expect a few puddles to develop in some of the lower sections of the course. So don't be surprised if you have to dodge a puddle or two. One of the first things you'll notice is just how wide these paths are. There's plenty of room for everyone, but it's important to remember that this isn't a closed course exclusive to Parkrun. Braeside Park remains open to the public throughout Parkrun, so you'll likely share the trails with walkers, cyclists and other visitors enjoying the park. As always, keep to the left, be courteous and share the space. That's all part of what makes Parkrun such a positive experience, not just for us, but for everyone who enjoys these beautiful parks. With the logistics sorted, the course now explored, and another beautiful Victorian parkrun waiting to be discovered, there was only one thing left to do. Head over to the First Timers Welcome and get this adventure underway. Now, the sort of shoes that I would recommend would probably be leaning towards a hybrid road to trail shoe. The compacted granitic sand provides really stable surface, and I never felt like it was slippery underfoot. If you're wearing a standard road running shoe, I think you'll probably be fine in normal conditions, but my personal preference is a hybrid or a light trail shoe, simply because it offers that little bit extra grip and confidence on the gravel style surface without sacrificing comfort. Over the 5 kilometres, the footing is consistent and predictable, making it a really enjoyable course to run. And if the weather has been wet, that extra grip from a hybrid shoe could provide worthwhile around the odd puddle or softer sections. During my visit, I was told that both the Phar Lap Track Parkrun and Victory Road Reserve Parkruns were established to help ease congestion and the growing numbers at nearby Carcarrook Parkrun. Now, whether that was the original intention or not, what has happened is something really special. Rather than simply taking participants away from Carcarrook, these events have created 2 incredible destinations in their own right. Each has developed its own unique personality, its own identity, its own community, and its own story. In my opinion, that attempt to spread the numbers hasn't diminished the appeal of Carcarrook at all. Instead, it's enriched the Victorian parkrun landscape by giving us 2 more outstanding events to explore. Now, personally, I think both the Phar Lap Track and the Victory Road Reserves have something truly special about them, and I featured that recently in one of my videos exploring the history of the site that is now known as Victory Road Reserve. Now, both these courses I mentioned are not just alternatives, they're destinations. And that's exactly why so many parkrun tourists continue to add them to their growing list. Now let's take a look at the numbers from event 45 at the Phar Lap Track Parkrun. This is the one that I attended yesterday. This week, 129 people crossed the finish line, supported by an incredible team of 17 volunteers who made the morning possible. While attendance was a little below the event's year-to-date average of 151 participants, it's once again demonstrated what I love about medium-sized parkruns. There's plenty of atmosphere, you never feel overcrowded, and there's a genuine opportunity to connect with the local community. Now, leading everyone home, and congratulations to Matthias Brelting, who's clocked an impressive time of 18 minutes and 58 seconds. For me, it was my first visit to the Phar Lap Track and my 312th parkrun overall. Across the line as tail walker in last place in a time of 62 minutes and 11 seconds. But as always, the stopwatch wasn't the highlight of my morning. The real highlight belonged to one very special member of the parkrun community. Congratulations to Kathleen on completing her incredible 500th parkrun. Reaching 500 parkruns is an extraordinary milestone built on years of dedication, early mornings, countless kilometres, and an unwavering commitment to the parkrun community. Milestones like this remind us that parkrun isn't about who finishes first or how fast you run. It's about showing up week after week, becoming part of a community and creating memories that last a lifetime. Kathleen, on behalf of everyone watching, congratulations on an amazing achievement. Here's to many more Saturday mornings and many more parkruns ahead. Because of parkrun, every milestone tells a story and every barcode has one too. Now, during my visit, one of Phar Lap Track's regulars shared a little piece of local event history that even the run director and I were learning about for the first time. You may have noticed that little stuffed horse that regularly appears in photographs from this parkrun. Well, his name is Bobby. To the rest of Australia, the champion was Phar Lap, Australia's wonder horse. But to his devoted strapper, Tommy Woodcock, he was affectionately known as Bobby. Naming the event's little mascot Bobby creates a beautiful connection between the legend who once trained on these grounds and the parkrun community, now creating new memories here every Saturday morning. So the next time you see that stuffed horse appear in the Phar Lap Track parkrun photos, you'll know there's much more behind the name. He isn't merely a mascot, he's a small reminder of the trust, friendship and unwavering belief behind one of Australia's greatest sporting stories. Now the course itself is what I would call an out and back. You actually start in the main leg that runs into the circular section. Now with that circular section, it goes in a anti-clockwise direction, and you actually go past the intersection for a couple of 100 metres. There is a cone there marking a turnaround point and generally a marshal as well, to then go back exactly the same path in the opposite direction, in the clockwise direction, to then finish off where you start. Thought it would be worth mentioning, and it is definitely quite easy to navigate. Now, no parkrun is complete without a great post-parkrun cafe. And for the Phar Lap Track parkrun, the local recommendation was clear: Son of Adam. Located just a few minutes from Braeside Park, Son of Adam has become the unofficial post-parkrun meeting place where participants gather to refuel, catch up and relive the morning's event over great coffee and exceptional food. Walking through the doors, it's easy to see why it's so popular. The cafe has a modern industrial feel softened by plenty of greenery, creating a bright, relaxed atmosphere that's perfect after a 5-kilometre walk, jog or run. Now, whether you're sitting down with friends you've travelled with or chatting to people you've only just met at Parkrun, it's one of those venues that encourages you to slow down and enjoy the community. And then there's the food. The menu caters for just about everyone, from lighter breakfast options like organic granola bowls and smashed avocado through to hearty favourites include the Hungry Adam breakfast, Turkish eggs, lamb benny, and one of the cafe's signature dishes, the chili eggs croissant. There are also burgers, wraps and lunch options if you're taking your time, along with exceptional coffee, smoothies, fresh juices and their popular dirty chai, which I enjoy. Presentation is outstanding, with every dish looking as good as it tastes, almost too good to eat, almost. It's actually really pleasing that if you had a look at those images, that's essentially what you will get delivered to you on your plate. It's not like the fast food chains when they'll feature a lovely looking hamburger, a video advertisement, and then when you get it, it's just beyond recognition. What you see is what you get. So definitely worth partaking in and enjoying. One of the things I really enjoy about parkrun tourism is discovering cafes like this. They're often local businesses that become part of the Saturday morning ritual. Son of Adam is a perfect example. It's not just somewhere to grab breakfast, it's where the conversation continues, friendships are strengthened, and new stories begin. So if you're planning a visit to the Phar Lap Track parkrun, I definitely recommend allowing a little extra time after the event. Finish your 5K, enjoy the atmosphere at Braeside Park, then make your way to Son of Adam to round out what is a fantastic Saturday morning experience. Now, one question I do and have been asked previously is, what is the cafe like and how expensive is it? I'd probably place Son of Adam right in the middle of the price range for this style of cafe. It's certainly not the cheapest breakfast you'll find, but it's definitely not overpriced either. For what you're getting, beautiful presentation, generous serves, quality ingredients, excellent coffee, and a modern venue, I think it represents good value. Most breakfast dishes sit in the range of $22 to $32, which is pretty much what I'd expect from a quality brunch cafe in Melbourne. The atmosphere is welcoming, service was friendly, and the food looked absolutely sensational coming out of the kitchen. And to be honest, we didn't have to wait long at all. It's one of those cafes where you don't mind spending a few extra dollars because you're getting the complete experience, not just a meal. Now, if I was to give it a Billo rating, I'd comfortably say Son of Adam would be an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. For me, That's another reason why the Phar Lap Track Parkrun is well worth the trip. You get fantastic course, a welcoming community, plenty of fascinating history, and then you can finish your morning with a quality breakfast just a few minutes down the road. And that's what Parkrun tourism is all about. It's not just the 5K, it's the entire Saturday morning experience. And just like that, that brings me to the end of another Parkrunday adventure. The Phar Lap Track is so much more than a beautiful 5-kilometre course through Braeside Park. It is a place where history, community and storytelling comes together. Almost a century ago, Phar Lap gave Australians hope during some of the hardest years this country has ever faced. Today, in a very different way, this event continues to bring people together, to move, to connect, to encourage one another, and to believe that showing up matters. From the wide granitic sand trails and peaceful bushland to Bobby, the little mascot, and the stories shared by the locals, this is a parkrun with a personality all of its own. But as always, none of it happens without the volunteers. To every person who arrived early, set up the course, directed the parking, marshalled the trails, welcomed first-timers, timed the finish, handed out tokens, scanned barcodes, and took photographs and packed everything away at the end, thank you so much. You gave your time so the rest of us could enjoy our Saturday morning, made visitors like me feel very welcome, and you carried on the spirit of this remarkable place with warmth, patience, and genuine enthusiasm. Volunteers may not always cross the finish line, but they are the reason there is a finish line at all. The Phar Lap Track Parkrun was created with the idea of easing pressure elsewhere, but what has emerged is something far greater, a destination in its own right, with its own identity, its own community, and a history unlike any other. This truly is a parkrun destination that will stop a nation. I'm Billo, and this has been another 5K yards on the road to Parkrunday. Until the next barcode, the next road trip, and the next story, take care, keep moving, and never forget, every barcode has a story. Thanks for watching.